Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
All right, it is 11:05 on The Lock Shop, and I picked the right day to return to The Lock Shop. Scottie Scheffler. What a morning. Haas, what's up, buddy?
Dusty, great to see you, man. First off, we have lots to get to, obviously.
Yes, we do.
A big thanks to Pat and Jake for holding it down for the last week or whatever since you've been on the road. And congratulations to you. Hell of a return to the booth calling hockey. Lots of props for the calls. Listen, it was a quick series, which is great. You get back to the family and back to the lock shop at EST quickly, but it sounded great. Looked like a heck of a series too for a sweep. But great job on that. But good to have you back.
Yeah. It was funny because basically, I told Tam and the kids, I was like, "Look, we want a sweep so Daddy can come home, or we want a 7-game thriller that I'll never forget for the rest of my life." And we got the sweep, but one of the games went to overtime. One of them had a game winner with 3 minutes left, and one of them had a game winner with 5 minutes left. So it was actually pretty entertaining series. Like I said yesterday, I was doing the Pipeline show with Guy Flaming. Like, I didn't even think Portland played poorly. Like, Moose Jaw just had it the whole time. Like, Moose Jaw is a very good team. And I think my favorite thing about all of it was that I got to work with Kevin Sawyer. And Kevin obviously
had a good time with Swayze, as they call him.
What a nice guy. Like, just a really nice guy and a great color analyst. Like, it was like we'd been doing games together for 5 years. We just kind of got rolling, and it was great. So he's outstanding. Definitely like to do some more games with him somewhere down the road. So it was a lot of fun, and it's different. I've done a lot of Spengler, obviously, but that international ice just changes the. Like, now that I was back, and junior hockey's something else, but like the pace of the game on the smaller ice is just so much different than the pace of the game on the bigger ice, and it made for a lot of fun, man. I was loving it. I had a lot of fun. It was a good time.
Okay, listen, I think we need to save the majority of our Scheffler / PGA discussion
for when Pete Greg
comes on. We do got to get to the hockey and all that from last night, but I just have to ask you. Right off the top, did you do the Nielson show today? Like,
I was back in studio here today too. Yeah.
So just take me through. You're doing the show. At what point does this come on your radar? And in the annals, you've done hundreds, maybe thousands of morning shows. Where does that rank amongst the most bizarre circumstances that were coming in live from the sports world?
It's got to be an all-time top 5. What the hell is happening during the live show type of moment, because we're sitting here this morning. I think I first saw it. Somebody texted in. It was like, Scottie Scheffler arrested. I was like, what are you talking about? Why is Scottie Scheffler arrested? And then I get on Twitter and see Darlington and the whole post, and Eric's reading the quote where the police officer, Eric's reading the quote where he goes, Scottie Scheffler said to Jeff, please help me. And the cop was like, Scottie Scheffler is going to jail. And I was just like, what is happening? But then by the time we finished our show, he was at the course. Like, he went to jail, got charged with 4 things, got the mug shot, got back to the course, and was 1 under by the time we finished. Like, 1 under. He had a birdie on the first, I think. I haven't even checked the score lately because I've been so fascinated by the rest of the story. So the fact that it all happened during the show is just amazing.
Listen, we'll be talking about this forever. This is going to be one of the most famous mugshots in sports history. And when you think about it, if I had told you, if we had Coolbet set odds, a player in the PGA Championship is going to get arrested before round 2, like in between round 1 and round 2.
Yeah.
A player in the PGA Tour field is going to be arrested and get 4 charges. And we knew that someone was going to do it, and then they laid out the odds for every player. Scheffler would have been the opposite of what he is to win the tournament. He might have been literally the last guy in the field. And Big Cat from Barstool had just the hilarious post. Said, so Scottie is such a nice guy. He refused to use the "Do you know who I am?" line, even though this may have been the only time that line has ever actually been warranted.
I mean, it's the whole thing is just wild. I cannot wait to talk about it with Pat Gregoire, who'll be coming up a little bit later on. Sobkirk over in the Nasty Chat says, -2 through 9 for Scottie already. Unfazed. So, what a day. I mean, it's interesting. Like I saw, if you didn't see his statement, let me bring it up. Darlington was there through this entire thing. Had the video. He was like right there when he's like, Jeff, help me. Like, I'm like, this is wild. Like Scottie Scheffler's asking a reporter to help him. He had the video of Scheffler being taken away. And then this was the statement that we got from Scheffler through Jeff Darlington. It's a statement from Scottie Scheffler to me. This morning, I was proceeding as directed by police officers. It was a very chaotic situation, understandably so, considering the tragic accident that had occurred earlier. And there was a big misunderstanding of what I thought I was being asked to do. I never intended to disregard any of the instructions. I'm hopeful to put this to the side and focus on golf today. Of course, all of us involved in the tournament express our deepest sympathies to the family of the man who passed away earlier today in the accident. Truly puts everything in perspective. And then there was the note out there about the police officer who was like dragged and ruined his $80 pants beyond repair, which was like a weird twist in this whole thing.
The police report seemed like it was like out of and the best part of it was Detective Gillis. And like, I'm thinking like, this is a Shane Gillis skit is what this is right now. I mean, we'll get into more of this coming up with Pat when he joins us at the bottom of the hour. We'll check out the leaderboard and everything like that. Listen, maybe this was a perfect thing to have on EST this morning.
Oh, buddy.
The chaos of the Scottie Scheffler, which kind of, I'm sure, gripped everyone just wondering what the heck's going on, and maybe get some of the ESTers away from brooding over what happened last night.
It was good timing this morning for this to go down, because it lightened the mood a little bit on a city that basically thought they were playing a best of 5 and have officially been eliminated. Like, it was, people were just, I mean, I don't know what it was like. Now the Jets, I mean, when did the feeling of defeat, knowing that it was done, even though it wasn't done, when did that pop up in Winnipeg, Huss? Like, when would you say that was? Because in Edmonton, it's done now. Game 5 series is over. Like, there's not a lot of positivity in this city right now, man.
You know, I mean, it was a little different just because of how lopsided some of the games were, and the two games. I mean, these games have been incredibly close. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, even with the Oilers playing, I thought like maybe their C or D game last night was still tied in the third period. And, you know, listen, credit where credit is due to JT Miller. What a stud he is. I mean, he is the heartbeat of that hockey club, and he's dragging him into the fight, and to his credit, making up for being on the wrong side of the puck in the final minute in game number 4, which led to the Bouchard goal. Listen, I know this is almost sacrilegious to say, but how many folks were saying, like, where's McDavid? What's up with Connor? Because, I mean, for a guy that can take over a game himself, he didn't do it last night. He didn't have a ton of help either. But, I mean, the Vancouver Canucks were so clearly the better team for pretty much the whole 60 minutes. And that's not, I think, what people were, certainly on the Edmonton side of things, were expecting. There's a lot more to give for Edmonton. And we're not sitting here blaming it on Cal Pickard.
No, Pickard was their best player last night. So it'll be a very interesting conversation today on the Oil Stream here on Edmonton Sports Talk about what's going to happen. Obviously, between the pipes, do you just run with Pickard because he was your best player last night, or do you go back to your number one guy facing elimination for the first time? I said this morning, Connor McDavid and the Bouchard turnover on the second goal, I mean, simply cannot happen. That's just a Bush League turnover by Evan Bouchard, who scored a couple of winners in the series. I get it. But my God, like that was all-time bad. But I said this morning, like, as far as much as Connor McDavid can no-show, he no-showed last night. Like, he's still going to buzz. He's still going to do those things. But to me, as close as you're going to get to a no-show from McDavid, that's what they got last night. So I would expect a huge bounce back from McDavid in Game 6. You'll probably be able to get him away from JT Miller a little bit more here at home. And, it ends up going 7, and then we'll see what happens in Game 7. You never know in a Game 7. But, man, JT Miller, just watching, like, a lot of and listening to him, watching the post games last night. JT Miller, did you watch his post game last night?
No.
He was excellent. Like, he was just, I mean, it seemed calm in the situation that they're in. And he essentially said, our line just kind of decided that we were probably just giving the McDavid line too much respect and worrying about them scoring on us as opposed to just playing our game and kind of taking it to them a little bit. And I thought JT Miller was very well spoken after the game last night, and the Oilers kind of look like that group that are searching for answers again right now. So it's just really weird to be in a spot where we're sitting here this morning saying, Pickard was excellent. Their fourth line scored a goal, and it was their big boys who let them down. Like the power play didn't just go 0 for 5. It only had 3 shots. When the power plays go in, they get 3 shots on one and half a power play. So just a piss poor effort from the power play. Full credit and full marks to the Canucks, obviously making some adjustments, considering it was rolling in at 50% in the series. So it was the big guys who let them down last night, and I would assume it's probably the big guys that keep the series alive on Saturday, and then who the hell knows what happens in Game 7. But yeah, today, I mean, devastated. Like the community's just like people are like, I had to tell people today, I was like, the series technically isn't over yet. Like they're not down 3-0. They're not down 3-1. These two teams have alternated wins and they're down 3-2. Like this is not done yet. It might be on Saturday, but it's not yet. And people just are like, no, that's it. It's over. It's done.
I had a great chat with Eddie Lack this morning. And we were talking about the series, and when I got into the goaltending question with him, and he was talking about Shelovs and how this young guy's coming in, probably not even knowing the pressures on him, the way that it really is, comparing it to what was on the shoulders of Stuart Skinner and how he obviously didn't rise to the occasion. They put in Cal Pickard, and I mean he kind of thinks that. You just got to keep on going with Pickard in game number 6, considering the way that he played so far. What's the consensus on the goaltending decision for game 6? Because, as I say, this was not on the goaltender, the reason why the Oilers lost last night.
Yeah, I think Eric put a poll up today, who would you start? And I think it was about a 75-25% split on going back to Pickard again, because he's actually been pretty decent in the 2 games that you rolled with. But it's a real fascinating discussion. Like I still think Knobloch will go back to Stuart Skinner. It's a classic win and you're in sort of situation. Like Pickard, you played really well. You are the backup. You've been the backup most of the year. We're going to either go down fighting with the number 1 guy between the pipes. So I would lean towards Knobloch doing that. But this is not like Skinner had one bad game. Skinner has had a save percentage that is like the worst among playoff goaltenders since like 2004 or whatever it is. So I don't know what the right call is. I'm personally leaning just rolling with Pickard, even though sometimes he looks like he's all over the place, and you're just like, and he's sort of a puck stopper. Like he just tries to get in front of it however he has to look. He's a little unorthodox, and I think that would worry some fans at times. So I would bet right now Knobloch starts Skinner, but it doesn't surprise me that the fan base, 3/4 of them at least that were answering our polls today, would just roll with Pickard. So we'll see.
For the folks that were lining up on the text line with the pitchforks, who else is feeling the wrath of the fan base coming out of Game 5?
Well, I mean, the big boys, obviously, from last night's game. The overall group, physical and aggressiveness was taking a big hit today as well. Like, not only were they heavily outshot last night, they were also out-hit 42-20. Like, to have 20 hits in a playoff game is just, and I get it. The Oilers aren't a team that is built around physical play. But the Vancouver Canucks, we were asked this morning, like, what's the number 1 reason the Canucks are ahead in this series? And you could make it a little bit about goaltending, but I think it's the aggressiveness of the Vancouver Canucks. Like, they just keep coming. They just get on you. Watching the third period last night, like, the Canucks are finishing their checks on forecheck, and I think it's starting to beat these guys down a little bit, especially when the top guys play so much. I mean, they're going to take some punishment here. And the Oilers last night, multiple times, whoever it was, kind of come in on a forecheck and then sort of just swing with the puck and just try to chase it over there. And so, I mean, that was the other aspect that was taken a lot. Obviously, Bouchard was getting ripped a lot because of that awful turnover. And then, there's a lot of talk about Tocchet, definitely having an advantage over Chris Knobloch right now from a coaching perspective in this series too. Just the way I think they both handled their teams obviously differently anyway, but Tocchet obviously pushed the right buttons for this group so far. So.
Well, and this is probably unfair because, I mean, Knobloch might turn into an incredible NHL coach for 20 years.
Yeah.
But the circumstances of him coming in, taking over midseason without any NHL experience, there's a lot that you learn your first few years on the job. And so I was a little surprised that they went the route that they did when they made the coaching change with someone that had no experience. Because, I mean, when you look right now at the remaining coaches in the Stanley Cup playoffs, so you got Laviolette, Maurice, Montgomery, Bednar, DeBoer, Tocchet, and then Chris Knobloch. And,
yeah,
I mean, it's going to take him years to kind of get the sort of, listen, chops, experience, whatever you want, than some of those other players, the other players. And a lot of those guys are like real fire and brimstone motivators. Like the job that Rick Tocchet has done, turning his team into an embodiment of himself as a player, has been one of the great jobs we've seen. And some of the other coaches seem to do that as well. We don't really know too much about Knobloch. And it's one thing to press buttons, and it's one thing to set up the lines and strategies. That's one thing. It's another thing to be able to pound your fist on the table and get your team ready to leave it all on the line. Rick Tocchet's doing that for the Vancouver Canucks, and that isn't seemingly the case right now for Edmonton, or at least hasn't been up until this point.
Okay, we got a couple other things to hit on. Then we'll bring in P. Greggy. Carolina Hurricanes, sus. I mean, just going to flame out the same way every year. You think like that was a tough year. You're up 3-1 in the third, going to force a game 7 and put all of the pressure on New York in that game at home. And then Chris Kreider with the natural hat trick, the one that started it. I mean, Freddie Anderson just can't allow that type of goal to go in. And then it was just unraveling from that point on. And here we are with the same questions about the Hurricanes again.
Yeah, well, and also questions about where Rod the Bod goes, speaking of coaches. Does he stick around there? Is he going to go elsewhere? That'll be a story that we'll all be following. Yesterday, it was Jake's birthday, and Jake was in, and we said, hey, you know what, for the birthday, let's swing. I'm actually quite happy that the late game didn't go over, because we had a very aggressive partner parlay yesterday with Canes Rangers to go to overtime. So the plus 325 on the draw with the over in the late game. And I'm sitting here watching Kreider get them back in 3-3 with 5 minutes left. This is perfect. And then he does it again. He is such a stud. He's a guy, he doesn't get the attention maybe that Panarin or Shesterkin or Fox gets. But man, in these playoff games, we had 50 last year. So, I mean, he's shown that he can score. But man, the way that he rose up, it was great. And as far as Carolina moving forward, they're in a stage, like there's a bunch of players that have one more year on their contracts, and then they're unrestricted free agents. And I think they sort of felt like this was the year. Certainly the books thought this was the year, as they were right there with Edmonton as the Stanley Cup favorites. And who knows, both of those teams, well, one's gone and one could be out as early as Saturday. Just quickly before we get Patty in here, quick thoughts on these games tonight, because we do have two huge game 6s. I mean, I can't say enough about what Boston and Colorado did to get these series back home for game number 6. And selfishly, as a fan, I'm hoping we get game 7s. Kind of think the Panthers, I think, are going to be better. And I think they just are better. If we're talking about a favorite, I guess they are the biggest favorite on the board tonight at minus 147. Although Brad Marchand's going to be back, he'll give him a boost. I mean, I don't rule out the Bruins at all. And wouldn't that be something if the Bruins could turn the tables on the Panthers and do to them what the Panthers did to the Bruins last season?
That that would be something. If they're, I think it ends tonight. I think the Panthers end up getting it done. Don't necessarily love the minus 147. Not necessarily confident to take them in regulation tonight. I've already put something in. I was talking about it on the morning show today, and I moved it around. For the Coolbet hotline of the day today on the morning show, I took that Colorado-Dallas game up to 6.5, and it gets you plus money on the over, as opposed to just taking it at 6 minus 120. So I also have booked this in already. I got the Panthers money line and Dallas, Colorado, moved it to over 5.5. It gets you to minus 150, but on a parlay. So Panthers money line, Dallas, Colorado over 5.5 goals tonight is plus 180. if somebody wanted to hop on a little sort of 2-game parlay there tonight. I don't know where you at. Like I think I'm leaning Dallas to get it done here again, but I mean that's a lot of firepower at the top end of the Avs. They get to go home here. I'm not overly that's why I love the over. I love the over in that game tonight. By far my favorite play on the board.
Incredibly tough pick to make, and that's why the odds are as tight as they are.
Yeah.
I mean, as opposed to the Panthers being minus 147 favorites, Oilers are minus 200 for tomorrow. I can ride with you on the over. We've had some great overs. We didn't get it last night. I know they've sort of been getting a little tighter, but for the most part, they've been going over 6.5. Last week on the plays of the day, I think we hit that on two of the days of the week. So sounds good. Sounds good on that. By the way, just quickly from last night, the Nuggets.
Okay, that's the one line. That's my last thing I wanted to get to before we bring in Pat. I wanted your thoughts on your Nuggets getting pumped by 45 in Game 6.
I guess. I mean, I was watching the hockey and we had it on the other screen, and I'm looking over, and they were down by 27 at the start of the fourth quarter. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then we're watching the hockey game and kind of keeping an eye out, and I'm like, they're going to lose by 50. They're going to lose by the 50 burger. At a certain point, you've lost. You call the dogs off. You let the guys rest and get ready to go. I mean, but that Minnesota's a heck of a team. They've shown they can win in Denver.
Yeah.
I am a little surprised the Nuggets are as big of favorites as they are.
What's the line?
5 points and minus 192 on the money line.
Just when you have an Anthony Edwards in a Game 7, I mean, I'd never count that guy out, I guess is what I'm saying. It's going to be a tough spot to go into in Denver, but you're right. They already won a couple of there. And I could see him going absolutely off in Game 7. It might not even be enough, but I'd be pretty surprised if he's not up to the task in Game 7.
I do like, I'm going to lay the 5.5 on the Pacers at home tonight. The home teams have just absolutely dominated. We saw what Minnesota did last night. I think the Knicks win this 1-7 back at home at MSG. And let's face it, the NBA would love to have a Game 7 on this long weekend between these two teams. So I'm locking in the Pacers minus 5.5 at minus 105 for maybe my favorite play today. I like that more than I'm sure on either of the hockey games.
All right, as we get ready to bring in Pat Gregoire, I'm going to get to this tweet that I just retweeted. It's the picture of Scottie Scheffler in the jumpsuit, which you can also see up on the video right now over on the left side. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart, if you haven't seen it yet, it's Scottie Scheffler in an orange jumpsuit. This is a great tweet. I don't know why it hasn't got enough love yet, but on the first day, you walk up to the biggest guy in your cell block and you ask him, what's the course record and where's the first tee? That's too good, man. That's too good. All right. Pat, is it a hotel? I think he's got NLL Championship Series stuff going on this weekend. P. Greggy, what's up, buddy?
Yes, it is NLL Finals weekend. The Empire State Battle, the Battle of the I-90. It's Albany, Buffalo. And full transparency, late checkout was only till 1. It's 1:28, so if you hear a rapping at the door, it might be them kicking me out. So I might need I might need to tell them I need an extra 5. So if I run up the screen on mute, you know what I'm doing here. But what an unbelievable morning. Like, I woke up this morning and I popped a couple of melatonins to go to bed. I thought I was having a fever dream, like seeing these videos of Scottie getting arrested. I couldn't believe it, but shout out to Golf Twitter, man. A banner day for Golf Twitter. All-time memes getting fired around. It was, of course, to be quite honest, the whole thing happened because of quite the tragedy. Obviously, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of someone who lost their lives. But what a bizarre situation. And as much as I love Valhalla, what an unreal course. That's the last time they're getting a golf tournament, I think, just with the way that everything's unfolded here.
To your point about Twitter, and I know it can be a cesspool and there's a lot of people that bitch a lot about it. This It's untouchable in circumstances like this. And I woke up to tweets or texts from you guys in the group chat.
You came in so late. I was just like,
it was wild.
It was still only like 8:30 in the morning.
We already had the arrest report in the text chat.
I'm looking like what and Pat's line about who had the Scottie criminal and top 5 parlay. And then at that point, I kind of went over, and the next 15 minutes, honestly, maybe up there with my favorite 15 minutes on social media in my entire life. It was just one thing after another. The video of Scottie rolling out of the clubhouse to the first tee with 50 Cent's Many Men playing in the background.
So good, man.
It's truly unbelievable. And Pat, I said this to Dusty at the beginning of the show before you came on. If I said to Evdog and the bookings at Coolbet, listen, in between round 1 and round 2, a competitor in the PGA Championship will be arrested and get charged with 4 things. Put odds out on who will be the player that does it. I'm pretty sure Scheffler might be like the last guy on the entire list at like $1 million to 1. You cannot make this stuff up. Not just anyone. It's Scottie freaking Scheffler.
Well, golf Twitter and golf journalists got what they asked for. They were saying like, "Oh, this Scottie Scheffler, he's such a generational talent. What we're seeing is the levels of Tiger. It would just be, it'd be great if he moved the needle a little more. It'd be great if he had a little more cachet to him, so the casuals would come out and watch." Scottie Scheffler said, "Hold my beer. I'm about to get arrested."
He's got a mugshot now.
I guess, does he automatically win the PIP money just from this morning?
I think he has to. I mean, he has to.
Lock it in.
I just could not believe my eyes because you're right. Scottie is the last guy you would expect from it. And I'm sure we're going to hear more about what actually went down and what happened. And I'm not trying to let him off the hook because clearly he made a major, major mistake. Now, were the cops being a little bit of heroes in this situation? That's also in question. But I've been to a lot of these golf events before, and you're driving in, and there is a police presence there usually. There is backing, like it's backed up like crazy. So Scottie probably just thought, hey, this is just traffic getting in. Weird. It's 5 o'clock. That's kind of odd. Kind of go through. He thought it was security, not police. Again, not gonna stand up for him or say what he did was not. There is no player on tour that I think you could probably say like it was a misunderstanding and that he had no harm or no ill will because it's Scottie freaking Scheffler. Like that's not the guy who he is. And now he's got a mugshot. Now he's joined the list of bad boys in golf. Like, I mean, just let's be honest. Like, the
thought of that is so funny.
The fact that he's got like, and the fact that he's still. I thought there was a chance that he'd say, "Screw this, I'm going home.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go to my family." Yeah, because if anyone would do that, it would be him too, right? Like, it would be him to say, "This is not worth it. I'm shaking up. I'm going home."
I still just don't know how like it all happened so quickly. Like he gets arrested, he gets the mugshot, he gets charged, the charge comes out. He was still walking back. He was like driving into the course at 9:13 in the morning. Like this all happened in a matter of like 3 hours. It was just insane how quickly it all sort of unfolded, man. It blew my mind.
Yeah, it really was. That's why I thought, again, I thought maybe I took a different type of gummy instead of a melatonin gummy last night before bedtime because I honestly could not believe my eyes. And that just goes to show you how incredible of a golfer that Scottie is, that he was in prison, was not really that close to the lead. And yet his like before teeing off, it was like plus 800 and then down to plus 650. The sicko degen in my head was thinking like, yes, we get Scottie Scheffler at plus 1,000. This is when we get in. And I open up the app and I look and I check. I got the website open and I look and I'm like, Really? He was just in jail. He was wearing an orange jumpsuit. Why can't we get a better number on him?
Scotty's behind bars. Still can't get a good number on him. Like, it's ridiculous. Huss, I just got your tweet you sent me. I'm gonna retweet it right now. This is good. It says, breaking news, Louisville Police Department have released the name of Scottie Scheffler's arresting officer, 35-year-old Tori McElroy. And it's got like a Photoshop photo of Rory in a, oh my God, man.
Rory's face on one of the cops thing. It's an absolutely incredible.
What was it? What was the name of that Celtic? What was the Boston Celtics? Celtic Pride? Was that when they kidnapped the guy, like Daniel Stern and stuff?
Yes.
Like, I remember that happening too. My God. Look at Brian.
Well, hey,
go ahead. Yeah.
You know, just like as far as, I mean, because God knows we could talk about this forever. The tournament is going on right now. And by the way, Scottie just birdied 9 to get to 6 under. He's 3 shots back.
What's the rest of that leaderboard look like? Yeah.
Well, it starts off with your guy Xander, and I will admit we were like, wow, Dusty's going back to the well with Xander again. You know, he's been so good all year, and you're right. He's going to win at some point. And then he goes out and throws a 62, tying the record, his own record, for the best round ever at a major championship. I mean, we'll see what he's got for the rest of the 3 rounds, but I hope you jumped on a little first-round leader sprinkle for Xander as well, because that's what we should be doing every tournament, to be honest.
For Xander, yeah. Yeah, no doubt. So what's the rest of that board look like right now, Huss? We got Xander at the top.
Mark Hubbard, who was 6 under yesterday. He's 2 under through 8. He's 1 shot back. There's a group at 7 under, which is Tom Kim. He was great yesterday. He's hitting fairways all day. Thomas Detry and Morikawa. And Morikawa had a wild first round. He came out and went bogey. He was 2 over after 5 holes. Then rattled off 3 birdies in a row, 3 pars, another 3 birdies, and then birdied 18. He's in great style. I don't want to get ahead of myself, Pat, but I'm already thinking about that future before the season of Morikawa at 125 to 1 to top 10 in all 4 majors. He's got 1 down, and he's looking really good so far. After Morikawa, the group at 6 includes Scottie, Harris English, Alex Noren, and Austin Eckroat. Eckroat's getting a ton of TV time. And then 2 of our guys that haven't teed off yet that have got an opportunity. I mean, they were right behind Xander. Tony Finau, shout out to Tony, and shout out to me for believing in Tony enough to put the FOMO.
Shout out to me.
Well, listen, he had not done a lot to inspire faith. And I'm looking at these outrights. I'm going on Brooks and Roy. I said, there's no way I cannot put a little something on Tony. So we got that. And then Sahith, who lasted all of 2 days on the suspended list for Pat Gregoire, and then went right back on the card. And, hey, he rewarded you yesterday, Patty, with a heck of a first round.
Just when I thought I was out, he pulls me back in. I couldn't believe it. I just bet it just because. I saw the number. We talked about it on Wednesday, Huss. I had to bet it. He was suspended for literally maybe 2-3 days. But to think it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows, you have not rode Sahith Theegala bet before. I am not a drug guy by any stretch of the imagination, but I imagine doing like acid would be the same thing as betting on Sahith Theegala, because there's a good trip, there's a bad trip, it's up and down, it's crazy, you don't know what's coming next. That's pretty much what it comes to when you're betting on Sahith Theegala, because there's a good chance he shot 65 yesterday. He could put out a 75 today. Like there is an absolute chance that happens, but he looked really good. I mean, guys, we laid this out. We shouldn't be surprised with the guys that are near the top, because this course, I mean, the rain certainly today. I think the guys in the afternoon, I think it's supposed to clear up. They should have a clear advantage. But we talked about it. You got to be long off the tee. You got to be able to make your putts. And you need a little bit of magic beans around the green. And all those guys near the top have been doing all three things. You mentioned Tom Kim. He's been a fairway finder. Xander Schauffele couldn't miss. Hubbard now is actually 9 under. So it's the PGA Championship. I know in years past you used to see a little bit of a higher score. Normally it's a little bit it is lower, but I don't know, the way these guys are playing, like I do think we're going to be closer to 20 under than we're going to be to like 10 under.
By the way, Scottie just has got another birdie and then a nice par saver on the par 3-12.
So he's seven?
Seven under.
7 under.
2 shots. He'll be tied for the leader in the lead by the time he finishes this round. But then like it's going to be awesome this afternoon. We got Xander, we got Rory at 5 under, Brooks at 4 under. Like, guys, I wouldn't be surprised if by the time this second round is finished, we are talking about just going into Saturday before we get to Sunday with Xander, Morikawa, Scheffler, probably Tom Kim, who people love, but potentially Finau and Theegala, Rory, Brooks, all right there sniffing around the lead.
Hey, do not forget and don't sleep on Victor Hovland, our guy, and shame on me. And I'm okay if this is where he breaks through. He looked great yesterday. I know he's finished 3 under. So he's got some work to do, no doubt. But I thought he had a really great bounce back. I had Bryson DeChambeau. I know it's still like it's gross coming out of my mouth when I say that. He was pretty good yesterday as well. He's 3 under. Max looked great. Like this is what's going to happen, guys. I think this is what we need to start getting used to in major golf events. We're going to have a lot of guys near the top, but it's probably just going to be Scottie who wins it at the end of the day. I think we need to just collectively come together and say, because we say it every time in our group chat, we got to just bet Scottie. We have to do it. And then come Wednesday's show, I don't know if I can.
I can't take him at this number. I can't take him at this number, right? Like, yeah.
Let's just take the number. Let's take the number and let's bet on him next time. I think we have to promise.
I don't support criminals.
I gotta get to this text from Big Maple. This is great. Guys, this Scheffler scenario reminds me of when Jim Leahy got arrested for drinking and driving, and the cops let him give his speech to be reelected as trailer park supervisor, and he won.
Oh, that's so good. That is incredible. Jake?
Sheldon in a Not in a White Garbage Truck. One more quick text. He goes, if I was Scottie, I'd be wearing an orange golf shirt for his round tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Sunday Orange. He needs to come out with a new brand. Sunday Orange. Sunday Red, no more. It's Sunday Orange. Jake had an all-time text this morning. He said he's living out everybody's guy's golf trip dream right now. Jail, police escort to the course, quick breakfast, 30-minute warm-up, and then shoots a 65.
That's happening as well, man. My God, that's too good. All right, you can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. You hit us up over in the Nasty Chat over on YouTube as well. Penner's Pancake says, guys, I'm here for Hustler's King of the Ring picks. So we got that going for us. Spency 5 cents, he says, let's go divorce swag. That would be the divorce swag, obviously, with Rory right now. Huss, is that a thing? Huss, is divorce swag a thing? You're a big baby swag guy.
Well, I mean, that's why for the first time in Lock Shop history, I'm on Rory this week, Dusty. And I think that he looked so good at Wells Fargo. Obviously, this had been already taken place. He seemed to be sort of playing free, playing confident, worrying about himself. And he had a great first round. So I think I'm hoping that we have a brand new narrative to talk about after the end of the PGA Championship, and guys that filed for divorce 2 days before teeing off have a big emotional boost that they're getting back in the game.
What was the analytics that we broke down the other day, Huss? Rory, while married, majors 0.
Good point, boys.
Rory while single 4. You want to talk about tee to green, strokes gained? No. These are the fancy stats that matter. And I said to Huss on Wednesday, I was okay not betting Rory because I have so much scar tissue over the years. if he wins, I will be happy, so happy for him. I'll be so happy for you, Huss. But I just could not stomach betting Rory in a major. I haven't done it for a few years now, and I think it can't happen. It's got to happen. I'll be happy for him if he wins, and I think he legitimately has a shot here with the way he played yesterday, and just he's got that FU mentality to him right now. We talked about what he was dealing with the PGA. The advisory board, him getting, him leaving, wanting to come back, and Patrick Cantlay and others were saying, no, we don't want him back. So like he is kind of on an FU tour, not the divorce stuff, but just with what's going on with the world of golf, everything that he's put himself out there, going up against Liv. Like I do truly think that he's, Mr. Nice Rory is no more. I think he is just, all he cares about now is winning it and shoving it up people's hoops.
His mind is free right now. By the way, if anyone's listening or in the chat right now that sort of either missed the show or didn't get any picks in beforehand, we'll have the full live betting, I imagine, throughout Saturday and Sunday's rounds.
Yes, we will.
Right now, just because of the opposite tee times, it's not but right now, you can get Brooks, who's 4 under. If you want Brooks to win, he's 14-1. Sahith, what was the number on Sahith to start the tourney? Patty, what'd you get him at? He was like big time 66 or something like that.
He's 66, but earlier in the week he was 80.
80.
He was 80.
So Sahith's at 22, 22-1 right now, 6 under par. Tony Finau, who is 80-1, you can get him at 6 under before he tees off at 25-1. Bryson, who's at 3 under, is at 35. And listen, if you like, you just mentioned Vic Hovland and Max Homa, who are 3 under par or going into a nice, juicy course this afternoon. Max is 40-1 and Vic's 50-1 right now. So if you want to throw in sort of a last minute sprinkle on this, get on over to Coolbet before the guys tee off, and you can make it happen. By the way, as we've been talking, Mark Hubbard birdied to get to 9 under, tied with Xander, and so did Colin Morikawa. 3-way tie for the lead, 9 under par, and then 4 players at 7 under: Scottie, Harris English, Tom Kim, and Detry.
Patty, before I let you go, man, set up what you're doing this weekend, man. Tell us a little bit about this NLL final.
Yeah, sure. And lots of NLL odds up at Coolbet. So hit that lacrosse tab. You can take a look there. It's all right. Well, I'll break it down. So as I mentioned, it's the Buffalo Bandits taking on the Albany Firewolves. The Bandits are the defending champions. This is their 4th NLL Cup finals. They're led by Dane Smith and Josh Byrne. Dane Smith is one of the best players on the planet. Josh Byrne is slowly etching his way. I think he might even be winning an MVP this year, whenever that is announced. I think he's going to get that done.
Josh Byrne?
Josh Byrne, yeah. So you look on the flip side, though, this Albany team had the 1st overall pick last year. They were in dead last. But due to COVID, the rules for the draft were a little bit different. So you could get drafted, but because the NCAA granted an extra year for a lot of these kids, they were able to go back to the NCAA and finish up their eligibility. So over the past 2 years, Albany did a really good job drafting. And now those guys are in the lineup, and they have the rookie of the year in Alex Simmons. These kids they don't care. They don't care that they're going up against the Bandits. They're just out here and they're balling. And similar to the NHL, it's even more paramount in the NLL. You need elite goaltending to win. And Doug Jamieson for Albany is a guy this kid's an absolute stud. The goalie for Buffalo, Matt Vince, is probably the best of all time. I think you could put Doug Jamieson in that conversation for once Vince retires, okay, who's the next best? And Vince is going to be there. If I had to give a pick, oh man, this one's tough. I would say, I got to pull up these lines here. Let me pull them up real quick, fellas. I want to give something good. I would lean under, but like if you're casual or you're just watching the game, it will be on TSN tonight as well. I mean, the under is not really a fun bet. I don't know about the over because of how good those goalies are, but if you're looking for some value, maybe roll with the young guns. Roll with Albany to win. I think they're plus money to win the game. But if you're looking through some of the props, any Josh Byrne overs would be certainly a play that I would be looking at.
What about plus 350 on Josh Byrne Finals MVP?
That's a great number. What's Matt Vince's number actually? I would look to maybe even the goalies.
Matt Vince is 7-1.
That moved, I think, was plus 850 when it opened. I would even think about sprinkling that number, Matt Vince or even Doug Jamieson. I think these goalies are going to be a real factor here. But Josh Byrne at plus 350, that'd be worth a sprinkle. Okay, so it's got. I just had them up here.
Total goals for Byrne in the series. 7.5, 115 on either way. Over under.
Oh, over. He could get 6 tonight. Like, I know I talked hyping up these goalies, but even if it's a 10-9 game, I mean, he has been the heartbeat of this offense this year. So I'd take the over there. And looking at Albany, you could get some value at plus 118. Actually, for them to keep it within a goal on the ball line, I guess you could call it. We'll call that the lax line, whatever it is. Plus 1.5, minus 118. I actually like that better than the plus money for them to win. I think this is going to be a tight game. Take the underdog with the goal and a half, and I think we see a close game here in Albany. And hopping in a Sprinter van with the crew, heading over to Buffalo. The game's tomorrow as well. A sold out crowd already, fellas, for Buffalo. Like they are expecting.
When's game 2?
Game 2's tomorrow night at 7 o'clock or 7:30. That'll be on TSN as well.
So it's Albany, then Buffalo, then Albany. Where would Game 3 be?
Game 3 would be the following Saturday, back in Albany.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So even though the Bandits are the defending champs, they're the lower seed. They had a little bit of a slow start to their season, but they've picked it up, at the right time, which we see with a lot of championship teams in all different sports. I mean, very, very, looking at your shirt, Huss, very Chiefs vibes to this team, and if it's big time Chiefs vibes, like, and I can't really pick one guy, but if you could, it's like a Josh Byrne, Dane Smith are like Patrick Mahomes. Like, it's that's why I'm reluctant to say Albany to win. Because they're just a team. They got over the hump last year. They'll find ways to win. So for me, I think the fun bet, take the underdog to cover the spread. I think this one goes to the last possession. I really do.
So I'm going to hammer the Josh Byrne over, and then
let's do it.
For Josh Byrne goals.
So what's coming up on Winnipeg Sports Talk, buddy?
Well, we're actually going to have a fun conversation on this Oilers Canucks series with Eddie Lack. I mentioned that I was speaking with him earlier this morning. We banged out something that we're going to have coming up, and there's a lot of off-season Jets talk right now. Potential Ehlers trade, new head coach, Murat Atesh from the Athletics going to be coming on. We're going to go to Bomber training camp with Ed Tate, and then finish it up, getting ready for the track. Opening day at Assiniboia Downs is Monday, and then Darren Dunn's going to pop by. And then, of course, ESTers pop by 2:45 or I guess
Marble race
your time.
Yeah.
Friday, Marble race. Dusty, if you're with the kids, you need to get Marshall Marble in there and see what happens.
Marshall made his hangout debut today. He popped on the hangout for a little bit today. Yeah.
Do you have any picks? Was he trash talking everyone how the Bombers were going to make it happen?
He did say that. He was asked about the Bombers. He goes, I think they end up with the Grey Cup. So you heard it first here, Marshall Bokeet Nielsen. All right, boys. We will talk to you. We'll talk to you on. Well, Tuesday, I guess. We are going to be rolling if the Oilers are playing in a Game 7 on Monday. We'll have some content rolling, but we'll figure that out. I'll text you guys, and we'll figure something out if we're going to be rolling on Monday. I can even handle it. So, anyway, just a heads up. We'll see if there's a Game 7.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right, boys.
Yeah, I can see it. But, Lock Shop hours back in next week. And, hey, might be good to wait till Tuesday because we'll be able to get over whatever happens in Edmonton and Vancouver and then dive into what happens in Louisville, Kentucky with the most wanted man on the PGA Tour and the rest of the stars going at it. Have a good weekend,
see you guys later, man.
Before I go, gotta get this. I just saw this. Ludwig Oberg, plus 120 head-to-head against Xander. I know that's a bold with how well Xander's been playing, but Uberg needs to go low today. Like, he's got to go low today. So getting plus number on the Big Swede, I'm taking it. I had to get that off my chest before we left. That is a great bet. I'm hammering that.
Okay, have fun with the NLL final, buddy.
Thanks, boys.
There you go. That's Pat Gregoire and Huss from Winnipeg Sports Talk. Let's do this. We do have the qualifying word for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival right now. Got that VIP table for the Friday night show featuring Shane Gillis, Andrew Schultz, among others. 6 O'Clocker Lager, one of the exclusive beers that will be available with our partners over at Alley Cat at the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, which is a great lineup. Text in jokes. Just text jokes. Not joke, but jokes. Text jokes right now to 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Text jokes to the inbox at 780-218-9999. And one of you will be contacted. You'll be qualified to go into the draw for that VIP table.
I'll use that word in a sentence. Vancouver Canucks fans can't handle jokes.
Oh, wow. Tommy Gazzola is here. He's so fired up for the oil stream. He said, I'll use that word in a sentence. Vancouver Canucks fans can't handle jokes. If you want more hilarious things like that, stick around on the oil stream. The oil stream is coming up, presented by Boston Pizza. That is going to do it for the Lock Shop today. Thank you very much for joining us today. Good luck tonight. If you want to ride with me, I had that the little plus 180 parlay there. Panthers money line and the over 5.5 in Dallas, Colorado tonight. See if we can cash that bad boy to wrap up the week. We'll talk to you next week on the Lock Shop.